Hare Krishna. Welcome to this episode of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Today we will be studying Adilila chapter 17, text 34 onwards. So this is about the offense of Chapal towards Srivas Thakur and the consequences of Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. Alright, so we'll begin our Mangalacharan and then continue with our reading. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalaam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So today we will be continuing our reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila chapter 17, texts 34 onwards. 33, what was that? One must strictly follow the principles given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this verse. If one simply follows in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya and Goswami, certainly he will achieve the ultimate goal of life, the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. That's where we ended the Trinada Pisunichena verse. One point regarding that verse is taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means to take shelter of that verse, actually. There is another place where Prabhupada actually explains this in the purport. I think we read that much earlier in the Adilila. Taking shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means, Gauranitai means to take shelter of Trinada Pisunichena verse. So if we don't do that, if we don't constantly contemplate on that, then actually we are not taking shelter. Okay, so that is an important point. So 34. तबे प्रभु श्रीवासेर गृहे निरंतर रात्रे संकीर्तन कोइलो एक संवत्सर. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu regularly led congregational chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra in the house of Srivas Thakur every night for 1 full year. कपाट दिया कीर्तन कोरे परम आवेशे पाषंडी हासित्य आयसे ना पाए प्रवेशे. This ecstatic chanting was performed with the doors closed so that non-believers who came to make fun could not gain entrance. Purport. Chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra is open to everyone, but sometimes non-believers come to disturb the ceremony of chanting. It is indicated herein that under such circumstances the temple doors should be closed. Only bona fide chanters should be admitted, others should not. But when there is large scale congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we keep our temples open for everyone to join, and by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this policy has given good results. कीर्तन सुनी बाहिरे तारा ज्वली पुड़ी मरे श्रीवासरे दुख दिते नाना युक्ति करे. Thus the non-believers almost burned to ashes and died out of envy. To retaliate, they planned various ways to give trouble to Srivas Thakur. एक दिन विप्र नाम गोपाल चपाल पाषंडी प्रधान से दुर्मुख वाचाल भवानी पुजार सब सामग्री लया रात्रि शिव श्रीवासेर द्वारे स्थान ले पाया. One night, while Kirtan was going on inside Srivas Thakur's house, a Brahmana named Gopal Chapal, the chief of the non-believers, who was talkative and very rough in his speech, placed all the paraphernalia for worshipping the goddess Durga outside Srivas Thakur's door. Purport. This Brahmana, Gopal Chapal, wanted to defame Srivas Thakur by proving that he was actually a Shakta or a worshipper of Bhavani, the goddess Durga, but was externally posing as a Vaishnava. In Bengal, there is perpetual competition between the devotees of goddess Kali and the devotees of Lord Krishna. Generally, Bengalis, especially those who are meat eaters and drunkards, are very much attached to worshipping the goddess Durga, Kali, Shitala, and Chandi. Such devotees, who are known as Shaktas or worshippers of the Shakti Tattva, are always envious of Vaishnavas. Since Srivas Thakur was a well known and respected Vaishnava in Navadvip, Gopal Chapal wanted to reduce his prestige by bringing him down to the platform of the Shaktas. Therefore, outside Srivas Thakur's door, he placed various paraphernalia for worshipping Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, such as a red flower, a plantain leaf. Red flower is a hibiscus. Plantain leaf, a pot of wine, and reddish sandalwood paste. In the morning, when Srivas Thakur saw all this paraphernalia in front of his door, he called for the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and showed them that at night he was worshipping Bhavani. Very sorry, these gentlemen called for a sweeper to cleanse the place and purify it by sprinkling water and cow dung there. This incident concerning Gopal Chapal is not mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. कलार पाता ऊपरे थुइल ओड फूल हरिद्रा सिंदूर आरे हरिद्रा सिंदूर आर रक्त चंदन तंडुल. On the upper portion of a plantain leaf, he placed such paraphernalia for worship as odafula, turmeric, vermilion, red sandalwood, and rice. मध्य भांड पाशे धरे निज घरे गेलो प्रातः काले श्रीवास ताहात देखिलो. He placed a pot of wine beside all this, and in the morning, when Srivas Thakur opened his door, he saw this paraphernalia. बड़ बड़ लोक सब अनिल बोलाया सबारे कहे श्रीवास हासिया हासिया. Srivas Thakur called for all the respectable gentlemen of the neighborhood and smilingly addressed them as follows. नित्य रात्रे करे आमी भवानी पूजन आमार महिमा देखो ब्राह्मण सज्जन. Gentlemen, every night I worship the goddess Bhavani. Since the paraphernalia for the worship is present here, now all you respectable brahmanas and members of the higher castes can understand my position. So he is not even retaliating, he's just, yeah, this is what I am. So, purport. According to the Vedic system, there are four castes: the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and below them are the Panchamas, literally members of the fifth group, who are lower than the Shudras. The higher castes, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and even the Vaishyas, were known as Brahmana Sajjan. The Brahmanas, especially, were known as Sajjan, or respectable gentlemen, who guided the entire society. If there were disputes in the village, people would approach these respectable brahmanas to settle them. Now it is very difficult to find such brahmanas and sajjanas. And thus, every village and town is so disrupted that there is no peace and happiness anywhere. To revive a fully cultured civilization, the scientific division of society into brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, and shudras must be introduced all over the world. Unless some people are trained as brahmanas, there cannot be peace in human society. So this is important. Um, Legal disputes, when there are disputes, the brahmanas used to settle them, and legalities are based on religious codes. Of course, now there is a constitution and there are lawyers, but the fault of this law is that it doesn't consider religious injunctions. At least in the Islamic world, there is the Sharia law, right? According to their scriptures, law. Actually, all law stems from religion. Every single law that we have originally stems from religion. Of course, now they have polluted it with many things, and over time it will get more and more polluted. Um, but original law is religious law. The problem with modern law is it does not consider the soul, and with that comes a host of problems. Because, for example, if a person murders someone, he has to be actually hanged because life for a life. Otherwise, next life he will have to be murdered like he murdered this life. So actually, it is more placing him in more difficulty. It is actually mercy that he be killed. But modern law does not understand soul, does not understand that there is afterlife and the consequences of karma. They don't know these things, and therefore there is so much defect. And now, recently, I saw in Indian Parliament there is big discussion on transgender marriage, how such relationships can fit into the legal framework, and they're disputing and debating. There are people who are for it, people who are against it. So they are discussing this issue in the parliament and wasting a lot of time and broadcasting it. Whereas from the Vedas, if you see, there's no need of dispute. It is just stupidity. It is illicit sex. There is, yes, a class of people who do that, and they are relegated to the outskirts of society. And if they want to be there, they let them be in their own community. That's it. They cannot mix unrestrictedly with people. So it's a very simple thing to do if we know religious codes. But without that, they're disputing and discussing and debating the whole issue. And they're actually considering their points. And like this, many things will be introduced, even say for abortion, the law of abortion. In India, it is legal after up till 24 weeks. So this is all stupidity. This is a nonsense. So this is happening because no idea of religion, no understanding of the science of the soul. Religion is not a sentiment. Yeah, it is scientific. It is the most perfect science. But that's the defect of today. So Brahmanas, they used to do the dispense justice because they will do so from the authority of the Vedas and the Vedic texts. So such guidance is necessary for human society. তবে সব শিষ্ট লোক করে হাহাকার, ঐচ্ছে কর্ম হেথা কইল কোন দুরাচার. Then all the assembled gentlemen exclaimed, "What is this? What is this? Who has performed such mischievous activities? Who is that sinful man?" So they did not buy this story of Srivas Thakur that he was doing Bhavani Puja. He immediately understood that some rascal did this. হাড়িকে আনিয়া সব দূর করাইল, জল ঘুমায় দিয়া সে স্থানলে পাইল. They called for a sweeper Hadi, who threw all the items of worship far away and cleansed the place by mopping it with a mixture of water and cow dung. Purport: the men in Vedic society who engage in public sanitary activities like picking up stool and sweeping the street are called Hadis. Sometimes they are untouchable, especially when engaged in their profession, yet such Hadis also have the right to become devotees. This is established by Sri Bhagavad Gita 9:32, where the Lord declares, Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepi syuh papayonayah striyo vaishyas tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, and Shudras, can attain the supreme destination. There are many untouchables of the lower caste in India, but according to Vaishnava principles, everyone is welcome to accept this Krishna consciousness movement on the spiritual platform of life and thus be freed from trouble. Neither equality nor fraternity is possible on the material platform. When Lord Chaitanya declares Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishnuna, he indicates that one must be above the material conception of life. When one thoroughly understands that he is not the material body but is a spiritual soul, he is even humbler than a man of the lower castes, for he is spiritually elevated. Such humility, in which one thinks himself lower than the grass, is called sunichatva, and being more tolerant than a tree is called sahishnutva, forbearance. Being situated in devotional service, not caring for the material conception of life, is called amanitva, indifference to material respect. Yet, a devotee thus situated is called manada, for he is prepared to give honor to others without hesitation. Mahatma Gandhi started the Harijan movement to purify the untouchables, but he was a failure because he thought that one could become a Harijan, a personal associate of the Lord, through some kind of material adjustment. That is not possible. Unless one fully realizes that he is not the body, but he is a spiritual soul, there is no question of his becoming a Harijan. Those who do not follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession cannot distinguish between matter and spirit, and therefore all their ideas are but a mixed up hodgepodge of problems. They are virtually lost in the bewildering network of Maya Devi. This is so important purport. So, here, important point. So, there are untouchables. Now, this is contested, right? Especially Hindus, even the so called Hindutvavadis of today, even they say that yes, we had some black spots in our past. We had things such as untouchability, caste system. We have to do away with those impurities, but yet retain our Sanatan Dharma identity and make it nicer. Well, Hardy, these people who do this sanitary work, they are always touching stool. There is reason why they are untouchable. If you touch stool, you can't touch anyone after that. You have to immediately take shower after touching stool. So that's why even when we evacuate, we immediately have to take a shower before we come out. So that is actually cleanliness. But these people, their job is to clean these things, drain, stool, and all this. So they're always touching until night. They cannot take a shower. So you can't touch them. It's like quarantine. It is cleanliness. It is hygiene, simple hygiene. So, and similarly, those who are meat eaters, they are also considered untouchables. Yavanas, Mlechas, Chandalas, um, this cobblers, they used to be untouchables because they deal with dirty things, deal with dead bodies. Okay, for example, even you, even as a Vaishnava, if we see a dead body, we cannot come to the temple that day. We cannot see the Lord after seeing the dead body. That's an offense. And if I bleed, I cannot go and do puja. I cannot. That's an offense. So that's why women in the menstrual period, the time of menstrual period, they're not allowed to come to the temple. I mean, at least in our previous history, in our history, that was the system. Even now, many women voluntarily do not go because of this thing ingrained in their minds. Of course, in our movement, we do allow, but they don't, like, for example, pour water on the tulsi or don't participate in the cooking or something like that. So these things are there, and there is reason why. But Again, that is not meant for discrimination. Um, they should be given all facility to elevate themselves. It's not that they're always untouchables. No, it is because of a particular reason, and they can be cleansed. And untouchable son, a hardy's son, does not necessarily have to be a hardy, right? He can be something. He can be a devotee actually. And a perfect example is Haridas Thakur, who was born in a Muslim family, but he became a devotee and he became Namacharya. Uh, so these things are accepted. By actual purification, they have to be made into Harijans. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here that Gandhi, he called some, untouchables as Harijans, just to give them some dignity in society. But he did not change them in character. So there has to be change of character. Hmm. Character in the sense they have to give up their bad habits. Meat eating has to be given up. All these things have to be given up. And then, yes, make them Harijan. And even otherwise, even if they're not Harijan yet, they can come to the temple and hear. That hearing thing should be, a facility should be given to everyone. Everyone should be given that facility. So, in that sense, we do not, for that reason, we do not practice this very strictly that, oh, you cannot come to the temple and this and that. We don't, because Shravan is more important. Shravanam. That means hearing this message. So, however sinful one may be, at least come and listen and participate in the kirtan. Eventually, they'll become purified. So, chance has to be given. So, that has to be there. Okay, so anyway, this Hardy, he was called and he was asked to cleanse away all these things, take out this. I think. They did not even touch themselves. Wine, everything was there. So, they did not even touch it. The Hardy did it. इन दिन रही से गोपाल चापाल सर्वांगे होइल कुष्ठ वहे रक्तधार. After 3 days, leprosy attacked Gopal Chapal, and blood oozed from sores all over his body. So this Gopal Chapal did this offense, and 3 days later he had leprosy. सर्वांग बेडिलो कीटे काटे निरंतर असह्य वेदना दुखे ज्वलये अंतर. Incessantly covered with germs and insects biting him all over his body, Gopal Chapal felt unbearable pain. His entire body burned in distress. गंगा घाटे वृक्ष तले रहेट बसिया एक दिन बोले किछु प्रभु के देखिया. Since leprosy is an infectious disease, Gopal Chapal left the village to sit down on the bank of the Ganga underneath a tree. One day, however, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and spoke to him as follows. So, quarantine is an example of untouchability that is practiced due to medical considerations, right? So, if somebody has an infectious disease, then he's quarantined. So, quarantine, that is untouchability practice, but because of a scientific reason. Similarly, the untouchability of Vedic civilization was due to a scientific reason. There are gross contamination like infectious diseases, and there are also subtle contamination, subtle infections, which happen when we associate with materialists. And that's why, even for us as devotees, asat sangatyaga, we are always advised not to associate with materialists because that is a infection. We are getting infected with their ideas, with their thoughts, with their desires. We also, that means, what is the infection? That means we also will develop those desires. So we will, those qualities will rub off against us, and then we will also develop those qualities. You see? So these are the reasons. There are very scientific reasons why that is so. We are not saying untouchability has to be brought back because that system was abused after that. The brahmanas themselves were contaminated and they were acting like they're super clean and super pure and asking the sweepers and to not even cast their shadow on their body. So these kind of nonsense happened. So that is complete rubbish. There, the Brahmana should be actually treated as untouchables because they are the rascals who did that. So we're not talking about that. We are talking about if somebody has touched stool, he should not be touched. He should not be touched. But at the same time, that profession is also necessary, right? Cleaning of any drainage problems. So therefore, we should give them prasadam. We should give them prasadam. And eventually, if they become devotees and they give up their that occupation, then they're more than welcome to join the Vaishnava community and every day come to the temple and participate. And even if otherwise they take a shower, yes, they can come into the temple and they can participate in the Shravanam Kirtanam. It should always be there. So anyway, Gopal Chapal, he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passing by and then he spoke to him. ग्राम संबंधे आमी तोमार मातुल भाग्य नामोई कुष्ठ व्याधिते हयाछि व्याकुल. My dear nephew, I am your maternal uncle in our village relationship. Please see how greatly this attack of leprosy has afflicted me. लोक सब उद्धारिते तोमार अवतार मुई बड़ दुखी मोरे करो उद्धार. As an incarnation of God, you are delivering so many fallen souls. I am also a greatly unhappy fallen soul. Kindly deliver me by your mercy. Purport. It appears that although Gopal Chapal was sinful, talkative, and insulting, he nevertheless had the qualification of simplicity. Thus, he believed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who had come to deliver all fallen souls, and he appealed for his own deliverance, seeking the mercy of the Lord. He did not know, however, that the deliverance of the fallen does not consist of curing their bodily diseases, although it is also a fact that when a man is delivered from the material clutches, his material bodily diseases are automatically cured. Gopal Chapal simply wanted to be delivered from the bodily sufferings of leprosy. But Sri Chaitanya, although accepting his sincere appeal, wanted to inform him of the real cause of suffering. एट शुनि महाप्रभुर होइल क्रुद्ध मन क्रोधावेशे बोले तारे तर्जन वचन. So, hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared greatly angry, and in that angry mood, he spoke some words chastising him. Krodhavesha. He became angry. He asked for, mercy, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry. And why is it so? आरे पापी भक्त द्वेषी तोरे न उद्धारिमो कोटि जन्म एमते कीड़ाय खाओ यामो. O sinful person, envious of pure devotees, I shall not deliver you. Rather, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. You see? Now you may say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful. Why is he speaking like this? What is this? How can he do like that? Some people, some devotees are like this. They just cannot take any chastisement. And what they do instead, they will find fault with the devotee who chastised them. This is their problem. What they do? They find fault with the devotee who chastised them. They say, how can he behave like that? How can he become angry like this? 1 second. How can he become angry like this? If he's a devotee, why doesn't he have the quality of compassion and mercy? So, chastisement actually is mercy. If we don't understand this, then it is very, very difficult for us to advance in devotional service. Remember, we have to go back to Krishna, right? And for that, we have to be 100% Krishna conscious. Kirtaniya Sadahari. And in that Kirtaniya Sadahari, if that has to happen, then the prerequisite is that Trinadapi Sunichana has to happen, Tarorapi Sahishnuna has to happen, Amanina has to happen, Manadena has to happen, then only Kirtaniya Sadahari will happen. So, we have to be humbler than the grass, more tolerant than the tree, always giving respect to others, never expecting any respect for ourselves. Only in that state we can be always Krishna conscious. Now, another factor about devotional service aspect of it is, unless we associate with devotees, we cannot increase in our devotional life, right? Without association of devotees, we cannot advance. But that association is where this verse, this Trinadapi Sunichana and Tarorapi Sahishnuna, our Sunichatva and Sahishnutva will be tested. Amanitva and Manata. So these things will be tested in the association of devotees. How do we become humble? How do we become tolerant? How do we become, um, callous to pride? Or how to say, how do we save ourselves from praise? And how do we handle insult? And how do we always respect others? These things, where are we going to learn these things? In the association of devotees. Because humble means humble in front of who? Or in the midst of who? In the midst of devotees. Tolerant of who? Yes, there are non devotees who give trouble, but also within the association of devotees, when one is staying and when one is participating in the services, not all devotees are pure devotees, right? In fact, almost all of are not pure devotees, right? We're all advancing in this devotional service of Krishna. So each of us have some strengths and weaknesses, and we have to tolerate while we are, dealing with other devotees, some things which may, bother us. Otherwise, we may have to tolerate. Uh, just like they are tolerating us, we have to tolerate them. So, in the association of devotees only, we are going to learn all these things. And if we don't learn this lesson of Trinadapi Sunichana and Tarorapi Sahishnuna, then we shall be expelled from the association of devotees. Not by Krishna's arrangement, we will be expelled from the association of devotees because we don't deserve that association. And such expulsion happens sometimes as if it was one's own conscious decision. Oh, I will leave this place. These devotees are not good. That may happen. And sometimes, actually, yes, some devotees, for example, in ISKCON, there is so much abuse that happened, you know, pedophilia in Gurukul. These things are completely dangerous. And if one leaves that association, there is nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong. But when devotees are following everything and they are chastising only for our benefit, and if we don't take that chastisement and instead we retaliate or we leave that association, who is the loser? We are the loser. The chastisement is the mercy of the devotees. And that's where we learn how to become humble. Humble means we have to repent. Now this Gopal Chapal, he became humble. He accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as God, and he also asked him for his mercy. So there is some simple mindedness to him, although he was also very um, offensive. So eventually that saved him. Okay, but for now, to teach him the lesson, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I shall have you bitten by these germs for many millions of years. As you will see later, he was relieved, but when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said millions of years, we cannot say, hey, he said millions of years. You see, he said, there is a verse I can show you. He said, he will have him bitten by germs for millions of years. See, look at him. He said it. I'm quoting him. I can say all these things. But still, that doesn't mean anything because it is not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not merciful. You should understand the intention. Sometimes the father may say to the son, you don't come back to this home anymore. You're not allowed here anymore. Huh? Just because the son did something wrong. He say you are a disgrace to the family, you don't come back to the get out. He may say that. But what does the father actually want? He wants the son to be changed. He wants the son changed and become better, correct his mistake. That's what he really wants. He doesn't want that the son actually go away from the home. He doesn't want that. But that's what he says. So we cannot quote that because sometimes, why I'm saying this, because sometimes when senior devotees chastise, for example, in our case, His Grace Gopāla Prabhu, when he chastises, he does use strong language. But people who are, you know, devoid of brain substance, I would say, they don't take it positively. They don't understand the intention why he's saying it, and they say he said it. Yes, I can see you. That devotee was there. Did he not say that? They will try to take the literal meaning of the word and etch that in their minds. I always ask them, okay, you remember that word very well, right? That Prabhu said, okay, go away, or don't come back, or something like that. But if you remember that so well, why don't you remember the other instruction he told you, that don't do this, or you correct yourself when he told earlier something? Why don't you remember those instructions? Why you remember this very, very well? That means you have a selection of hearing what you want to hear, what you want to repeat, what you want to portray. I'm telling you, the other day, I was talking to one devotee, and he said that we both were talking about another devotee who was no more coming to our temple. And that devotee happened to know that person, and met him somewhere recently. So I asked him, why is he not coming actually? What is his real problem? Then he said, no, in the past he told once that, apparently Sundar Gopal Prabhu told the devotees that if he is coming to the temple, this was in Malaysia. If he was coming, then Prabhu wouldn't go there. And that's why he doesn't like Prabhu, Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Now, if I can quote you so many times when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said the exact same thing. He said, I don't want to see him, like Chota Haridas, or even others, like, I can't get the name. Earlier we have seen, um, I forgot the name. I can't remember the name at all. So he was staying in Nityananda Prabhu's house and all that. So he, and in so many instances, he said, don't ask him not to come here anymore. Or Prataprudra even, before he met Maharaj Prataprudra, he said, I don't want to see him. I cannot see him like this. And even when Shivananda Sena, there was a disagreement, not disagreement. He failed to serve Nityananda Prabhu very well, and Nityananda Prabhu actually cursed. Spoke to his wife and then cursed the three sons to die. And then she became all worked up. And then after that, when Shivananda Sena came, the wife told, hey, Nityananda Prabhu cursed our three sons to die. Then, and crying, she said that while crying. And then Shivananda Sena chastised her. You foolish lady, why are you crying? Why the three sons? We also should die. If we can't serve Nityananda Prabhu, what is the use of our life? What is the use of our family? What is the use of all these things if we can't serve Nityananda Prabhu? You see, look at the difference in the thinking. And then he went to Nityananda Prabhu for seeking forgiveness. And Nityananda Prabhu, without even hearing him, he kicked him on the chest and he fell back. And then Shivananda Sena he got up and started dancing. Today I have achieved the mercy of your lotus feet on my chest, which even Brahma cannot get. Brahma is craving for this opportunity, but you have placed your foot on my chest. How can I become so fortunate even when I offended you? How merciful you are. So immediately Nityananda Prabhu embraced him. So the change is what Nityananda Prabhu wanted to see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to see, that change. And to induce that change, sometimes they will talk strong words. And such strong words are not to be taken literally, they should be taken as mercy. Another example is Narad Muni, who cursed the Nalakuvar and Manigriva. You may say, hey, Vaishnava should be, merciful. Yeah, they did something wrong. Yes, they were naked, playing with girls and all of that. But, Narada Muni should have been more merciful and should not have cursed them, should have explained to them, and, out of his mercy, just like he explained to the hunter, he should have explained also to these people, why did he curse them? But what happened with that curse? They saw Krishna, which nobody can see otherwise. Krishna was obliged to come before them. So, and especially in our context, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see, Chaitanya Charitamrita is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching Vaishnava etiquette in our era. Narada Muni cursing happened in another era where demigods, that kind of um, interactions of the demigods and humans were there. Now Kali Yuga, it's all between humans only, right, on this earth. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are very suitable for our context because we can easily relate. Hmm. Getting a curse and millions of years later seeing Krishna is unfathomable for us because for millions of years I don't know where I'll be, what will happen, what Kali Yuga, how much progress. But here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu takes strong words and takes strong stances and then eventually also blesses him. In Chota Haridas case also, of course, Chota Haridas committed suicide. Even then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, that is good. But of course, Chota Haridas came back as seemingly as a ghost, but actually as a Gandharva, and he was singing all the Radha Krishna songs, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was relishing those songs, without others knowing. So, we don't understand sometimes how to take chastisement. When I heard this, that this devotee was quoting Sundar Prabhu saying that, oh, if he comes, then I will not come. Prabhu said it seems once. And for that reason, he decided not to see him again. What I would do if Prabhu said that, then I would immediately fall at his feet. I'm very actually the reason why Prabhu said that was because this devotee he was going everywhere. He was going to Ritvik, he was going to ISKCON, he was going to Gaudimat, he was going. So he did not want Prabhu did not want that, because that's how Prabhu trains us, right? That's how we should be trained. Prabhupada also did that. Um, so we should not get contaminated like this. And when we go like that, and then we talk to our devotees here, or then sometimes invite them also there, and it's become very loose. Association should be very, uh, sajatiya snigdhe sadho sanga swatovare. This is the principle of association. We have to associate with those. Friendships should be made with people of mutual interest in the same category of devotees. That means like-minded devotees who, for example, we accept Prabhupada as a guru, and if somebody doesn't accept that, how can we closely associate with them and smile with them, clap with them? They are offending Prabhupada. Yeah, you can give them a respect of Vaishnava, but don't associate intimately with them. Why you have to go to their programs and why you have to go to Gaudiya Math and all this? Why these things are necessary? So this devotee, he was doing these things, and Prabhu in fact told him also before that don't do this. This is not good. But still he was doing, and that's why Prabhu said like that. He did say, but what is the problem in that? Why can't we rectify ourselves? In fact, instead, I want to remain the same rascal that I am and find fault with the devotee who chastised me. Why do I do that? Um, that means I'm not sincere in my advancement, in my own Krishna consciousness. I just want to do whatever I want to do. And he was actually associating with people who were inimical to ISKM and Prabhu. And so, why unnecessarily? There's history there. So, why these things should be done? So, for him to correct that, if he doesn't correct, then don't come here. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the doors were closed for others who were not serious into this. Only the bona fide chanters were allowed. You see, so there sometimes these things have to be done. Uh, but if they take it in the right spirit, okay, Prabhu said like that. That means he's really serious about what he's saying. I should be serious about what he's saying, and I should correct myself. And if I do that, why won't Prabhu allow? He will. Of course, he will. So these are the things we need to understand properly. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I shall have you bitten by this germs for many millions of years. Purport. We should note herein that all our sufferings in this material world, especially from disease, are due to our past sinful activities. And of all sinful activities, actions directed against the pure devotee out of sheer envy hmm, are considered extremely severe. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted Gopal Chapal to understand the cause of his suffering. Any person who disturbs a pure devotee engaged in broadcasting the holy name of the Lord is certainly punished like Gopal Chapal. This is the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As we shall see, one who offends a pure devotee can never satisfy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu unless and until he sincerely regrets his offense and thus rectifies it. So, this is what is wanted. We need to rectify. Because there are some questions in the comment section, but we will address them at the end. श्रीवासे कराइली तुई भवानी पूजन कोटि जन्म होवे तोर रौरवे पतन. You have made Srivas Thakur appear to have been worshipping the goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. So Srivas Thakur is actually the leader of all Vaishnavas. That's why we chant Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. That means we are offering our respects to Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, the entire group of devotees of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, headed by Srivas Thakur. Srivasa Adi, beginning with Srivas, all the Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So he is the leader of Vaishnavas, and he is the incarnation of Narad Muni, in fact. So you have made Srivas Thakur appear to have been worshipping the goddess Bhavani. Simply for this offense, you will have to fall down into hellish life for 10 million births. That means you see how much condemned the demigod worship is. That if a devotee is made to, appear to worship goddess Bhavani or Durga, that is an offense so great that, one is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying, Koti Janma, Raurave, in hellish life. One will be cast to hellish life for 10 million births. So, how much condemned is demigod worship we can understand from this? Oh, why, after all, Durga only, right? How can he be so, this thing, so fanatic about it? It's only Durga only. She's also from Hindu, this thing, one of the gods of Hindus. So, this is how Hindus think. Modern Hindutva is also like this. So, it's complete nonsense. So, we should understand actually what is what. So, Bhavani Puja is in the mode of passion and ignorance. Vaishnava is above even goodness. This is a how to say, insult, bringing down the level of Vaishnava and insulting him as if he is a Bhavani worshipper. So that is why it is so punishable. Purport: there are many tantric followers who, wishing to eat meat and drink wine, practice the black art of worshipping the goddess Bhavani in a crematorium. So this is how Bhavani worship is done. Now you may have Kali Badi, this Kali temples and all that, but still, Balidan happens and all these things happen. And the whole reason why the puja is done is also not for any spiritual benefit, just for some how to say, materialistic base desires. You know. Such fools also consider this Bhavani puja to be as good as worship of Lord Krishna in devotional service. But such abominable tantric activities performed by so-called swamis and yogis are herein condemned by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He declares that such Bhavani puja for drinking wine and eating meat quickly plunges one into hellish life. The method of worship itself is already hellish, and its results must also be hellish and nothing more. Many rascals say that whatever one accepts, one will ultimately reach Brahman. Yet we can see from this verse how such persons reach Brahman. Brahman spreads everywhere, but appreciation of Brahman in different objects leads to different results. In the Bhagavad Gita 4:11, the Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. I reward everyone according to his surrender unto me. Mayavadis certainly realize Brahman in certain aspects. But realization of Brahman in the aspects of wine, women, and meat is not the same realization of Brahman that devotees achieve by chanting, dancing, and eating prasadam. Mayavadi philosophers, being educated in paltry knowledge, think all sorts of Brahman realization one and the same and do not consider varieties. But although Krishna is everywhere, by his inconceivable potency, he is simultaneously not everywhere. Thus, the Brahman realization of the Tantric cult is not the same Brahman realization as that of pure devotees. Unless one reaches the highest point of Brahman realization, Krishna consciousness, he is punishable. All people except Krishna conscious devotees are to some proportion pashandis or demons, and thus they are punishable by the Supreme Lord and Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, as stated below. So this is the point. This is quite clear. पाषण्डे संहारिते मोरो ए अवतार पाषण्डे संहारि भक्ति कोरिमो प्रचार. I have appeared in this incarnation to kill the demons, pashandis, and after killing them, to preach the cult of devotional service. See? Purport. Lord Chaitanya's mission is the same as that of Lord Krishna which he states in Bhagavad Gita 4.7 and 8. यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. In order to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself millennium after millennium. As explained here, the real purpose of an incarnation of Godhead is to kill the atheists and maintain the devotees. He does not say, like so many rascal incarnations, that atheists and devotees are on the same platform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Lord Sri Krishna, the real personality of Godhead, does not advocate such an idea. Atheists are punishable, whereas devotees are to be protected. To maintain this principle is the mission of all avatars or incarnations. One must therefore identify an incarnation by his activities, not by popular votes or mental concoctions. Sai Baba, we're talking about one of them, and even the Sadguru. Of course, he doesn't say his incarnation, but he actually says that he is Shiva. He says he is a what? Dust of Shiva, something like that. Simply word juggler, that's what he is. So these kind of people, many are coming. So many are there. And they'll keep on coming. As long as the population is foolish, there will be fools to fool them. So we should educate, enlighten the population so that these people will not have any customers. That's what we should do. And then they will accept. Because then they will have to come to Krishna consciousness, these cheaters, because they will have no business. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave protection to devotees and killed many demons in the course of his preaching work. He specifically mentioned that the Mayavadi philosophers are the greatest demons. Therefore, he warned all others not to hear the Mayavadi philosophy. Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoy sarvanash. Simply by hearing the Mayavadi interpretation of the Veda Shastras, one is doomed. CC Madhya 6.169. So there's this Vijay Kumar who is talking some nonsense. He's saying, I respect and venerate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but him condemning the tantric paddhati is his ignorance, I must say, with great sorrow. As we practice Bhakti Marga, there are many we should respect. Please shut your mouth. Because you have zero right to comment on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like that. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Who the hell are you to say that he is wrong? Who are you? He is in ignorance. You don't even know anything, okay? You have not read Bhagavad Gita. Your veneration for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a farce. You venerate him means if you respect him, you have to hear and listen what he says. Okay? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. You have no damn right in this world to comment on him and say that he is in ignorance. That is offensive. And I don't want a reply from you. I don't consider your reply even. You have to learn that, first of all, who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is and what is this Shakta worship, everything. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is condemning. What then you will say Krishna is also in ignorance? Krishna is condemning in the 7th chapter. Kamaistayastar Haritajnana Prapadyante Anya Devata. Those who are foolish, have no brains, they worship the Devatas. Huh? Bhutani Ante Bhutejya. Those who do this tantric worship, they go to Bhutejya. This um, ghost worship, and all these black arts. These are condemned. These are tamasic. Krishna condemns them vehemently. And who are you? Who are you? Should I listen to Krishna or you? Stop this nonsense. Don't have your opinions. This is the problem with democratization of media, democratization of everything. Democracy is a demon crazy nonsense. Okay? Because everyone has so-called say in the matter, even though he is completely unqualified. And you are speaking like that, this is completely unqualified. So you should not talk like this. Okay? You do not know that Bhavani worship is actually tamasic. And it is very wrong. Okay? And then you are simply, and especially for a Vaishnava to do that, is especially wrong. So please, you first read Bhagavad Gita, okay? Don't don't come and act as if you have some knowledge here. Don't do that. You don't know anything. First, start reading Bhagavad Gita first. Take our Bhagavad Gita as it is and start reading. Rubbish nonsense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is ignorance. Huh? Rascal, he's coming to save the whole Kali Yuga population. And he's the only refuge you have if you ever want to actually have happiness. And you are talking like this. Please, this audacity of Hindus nowadays is irritating, and it incites anger actually. Hindus nowadays, especially call, oh, we Hare Krishnas are, you're like Abrahamic, you're saying only one God, only this thing, and then no other, you're not open minded. Yeah, we are not. We are not open minded, okay? Krishna was not open minded. Okay? Yes, Krishna gave this whole Vedic system, but if you want to fast track your progress, this all, nothing will help. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyatha. There is no other way, no other way, no other way than chanting Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna. If you think we are fanatics, get lost. Yeah, because that is the only way, and Krishna is proving that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is proving that. So please shut up. If you want to comment on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just get lost. Don't comment. It's better to keep silent than run your mouth in these matters. Again, so continuing on. Eta boli gela Prabhu korite Ganga snan, shei pape dukha bhoge na jaye paran. After saying this, the Lord left to take his bath in the Ganga, and that sinful man did not give up his life but continued to suffer. Now, purport. It appears that an offender to a Vaishnava continues to suffer and does not give up his life. This person who commented like that. Arey, we are reading about the the offense to Vaishnava. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the role of a Vaishnava. And this person is just offending Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Arey, we are talking about the same aparad nonsense. I mean aparad defect. How much you will suffer because of the nonsense. And you're doing that. Case in point. I mean, stupidity at its height, at its zenith. So anyway, it appears that an offender to a Vaishnava continues to suffer, and does not give up his life. We have actually seen that a great Vaiṣṇava-aparādha continuously suffered so much that it was difficult for him to move, and yet he did not die. I don't know who that is actually. Sannyasa kariya jabe prabhu nila chale. Sannyasa kariya jabe prabhu nila chale gela. Tatha hoite jabe kuliya grame aila. তবে সেই পাপী প্রভুর লইলা শরণ, হিতোপদেশ কইল হইয়া করুণ। Okay, Vijay Kumar is saying some clarification. I don't care. You should do an interview with Rajarshi Nandi. I'm not going to do any interview. I'm not going to do any interview. Respect other traditions. Okay, this is the problem with Hindus nowadays. He says, "Oh, we should respect other traditions." You do not know what is the effect of other traditions. So you respect the tradition of the terrorists also. They also have a tradition, no? You respect them. Okay. You do not know how destructive certain traditions are, and this Shakta is such similarly destructive. Okay. I can quote you from Srimad Bhagavatam. Just see. I'll just take one. Just interfering with this class. Hey, mind your own business. Don't give a class here. Please. I don't want your class here, okay? We are discussing a subject, and if you don't like, keep quiet first. First, try to understand, and don't simply, uh, pass on comment and talk nonsense. Please. You see, 11:5:14. ये त्वनेद ये त्वनेवं विदोषन्तः स्तब्धाः सदभिमानिनः पशून् द्रुह्यन्ति विश्रब्धाः प्रेत्य खादन्ति ते च तान्. Those sinful persons who are ignorant of actual religious principles yet consider themselves to be completely pious. Please hear this very carefully, okay? Our Vijay Kumar, please hear this. Those sinful persons who are ignorant of actual religious principles yet consider themselves to be completely pious, without compunction commit violence against innocent animals who are fully trusting in them. In their next lives, such sinful persons will be eaten by the same creatures they have killed in this world, and we should respect that. We should respect that. Huh? We will not. Sorry, we will not. We will tell that it is wrong. Okay. So, and we're doing that to save you. Okay. We're doing that to save you. And you are thinking, oh, we should respect. You do not know what respect is, first of all. You start respecting Durga Devi first. Durga Devi is a Vaishnavi Devi. She is a Vaishnava. She will not eat your nonsense meat and wine. She will not do that. All the hobgoblins, the female pisachis, they are the ones who eat. Vaishnavi Devi will never eat that. She will only eat the prasad of Lord Shiva, who is a Param Vaishnav. Okay, you don't even know Vaishnavi Devi. First of all, we respect Vaishnavi Devi way better than the Shaktas, because we know her exact role as a maid servant of Krishna. She was a sister of Krishna as well, right? So we have zero disrespect for Durga Devi, but the worship, the method of worship that is undertaken by the worshippers is so sinful that this is what will happen to them, and we should respect that. Let them go to hell. Respect them going to hell. So, just respecting tradition will not do, Prabhu. You have to understand. You have to understand what is the consequence of a so-called tradition or ritual. You should understand the consequences. We're not here to blindly accept and respect everything. No, if there is something wrong, we will point out that wrong. Okay. So, you should understand that. And you are saying you did not offend Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You do not know actually what is offense. When you do not, when you say Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in ignorance, you are horribly offending Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So please shut up. So don't say that you did not offend. You did offend. Okay. When Sri Chaitanya, after accepting the renounced order of life, went to Jagannath Puri and then came back to the village of Kulya, upon his return, that sinful man took shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. The Lord, being merciful to him, gave him instructions for his benefit. You see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him instructions for his benefit. You say you have Bhagavad Gita. I don't think you have. And even if you have not started reading it, read it. Okay, read it. You see 7th chapter, 9th chapter, and 18th chapter, many places Krishna has. Okay, 7th chapter, 20th, 21, 22, 23 verses. Go and see. Go and see. Go and read them. Read the purport as well. Go read the 9th chapter, 21, 22, 23 verses. Go and read. Especially 923. Go and read. Yeah. 1840. Go and read. Go and read. 1813. Read. So please, don't, you do not know anything. Krishna himself condemned. Okay. You want to find fault with Krishna? Up to you. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna. So don't say he is in ignorance. It is like saying Ram is in ignorance. Is Ram, Lord Ramchandra is in ignorance? This is your dharma, is it? Only Hindus have the um, audacity, the devilish audacity to say that God is in ignorance. No other religion will say their God is in ignorance. Only Hindu rascals will say their God is in ignorance. This is Hinduism nowadays. And they have no respect for God even. Hey, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. Krishna Varanam Tusha Krishnam. Who are you? Yeah? Please shut up. Don't say he is in ignorance. You are talking nonsense. Okay? You're a piece of rubbish if you're saying that. Okay, please repent first of all. Don't say that you did not say anything. You said it. I can show you. Good that you wrote it because I have proof now. Yeah. Nonsense. Giving big opinions here. So purport. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhashya has given the following note in connection with the village Kulia. Anyway, for those who are not in this live stream, those who will watch this later, this is the comment that I reacted to just now. So you can refer to that. Okay, so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhashya has given the following note in connection with the village Kulia. The village, originally known as Kulia, has developed into what is now the city of Navadvip. In various authorized books like the Bhakti Ratnakar, Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya, Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, and Chaitanya Bhagavat, it is mentioned that the village of Kulia is on the western side of the Ganga. Even now, within the area known as Koladvip, there is a place known as Kuliar Ganj and a place called Kuliardaha, both within the jurisdiction of the present municipality of Navadvip. In the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the two villages on the western side of the Ganga, named Kulia and Pahadpur, both belonged to the jurisdiction of Bahirdvip. At that time, the place of the eastern side of the Ganga, now known as Antardvip, was known as Navadvip. At Sri Mayapur, that place is still known as Dvipermat. There is another place of the name Kulia near Kanchadapada, but it is not the same Kulia mentioned here. It cannot be accepted as Aparādh Bhanjaner Pad, or the place where the offense was excused, for that occurred in the above mentioned Kulia on the western side of the Ganga. For business reasons, many envious persons oppose excavation of the real place, and sometimes they advertise unauthorized places as the authorized one. So, you know, this is an important thing. Sometimes when we go to these holy places, they say, "Oh, this is where this happened. This is where this happened." And we recently went to where, um, um, yeah, we were going to Gokul actually. Yeah, we were stopped at somewhere completely away from the real Gokul, Nandagram and all that, and saying that, oh, this is all the pastimes that the guide, not guide actually, the driver, who was telling that, oh, I will show you all the places where Putana killed and this is everything. Okay, we went. We went to one place where they had the dioramas of all these pastimes, and okay, this is where it happened. Hey, we know it is something different place. We know it. I mean, why are you simply doing nonsense? So, for business reasons, so that they can just get some money. So, far away from the real place. So these things are also happening. So we have to be careful where. And you see how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving very great detail and quoting authorized texts here, like Chaitanya Chandrodaya Natak, Chaitanya Charita Mahakavya, Chaitanya Bhagavat, and he's quoting such books and correcting the actual description or location of Kuliagram. So these are the evidences. I mean, these are important because otherwise people will be misled. See? श्रीवास पंडितेर स्थाने आच्छयापराध ताहा जहाँ তাহা যাহ তেহ যদি করে না প্রসাদ তবে তোর হবে এই পাপ বিমোচন যদি পুনঃ ইচ্ছে নাহি করো আচরণ। See, now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, you have committed an offense at the lotus feet of Srivas Thakur, the Lord said. First, you must go there and beg for his mercy, and then, if he gives you his blessings and you do not commit such sins again, you will be freed from these reactions. So, the reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was angry, even though he asked for his mercy earlier, was because he offended the devotee. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally was offended, he would have accepted the proposal of forgiveness then and there. But because he offended the devotee, he said, you seek forgiveness from Srivas Thakur, and then only you will be freed from these reactions. তবে বিপ্র লইল আসি শ্রীবাস শরণ তাহার কৃপায় হইল পাপ বিমোচন। Then the Brahmana Gopāla went to Srivas Thakur and took shelter of his lotus feet. And by Srivas Thakur's mercy, he was freed from all sinful reactions. You see? This is very similar to Ambarish Maharaj Durvasa Muni, right? आर एक विप्र आयलो कीर्तन देखिते द्वारे कपाट ना पायलो भीतरे जाइते. Another Brahmana came to see the kirtan performance, but the door was closed and he could not enter the hall. So this Brahmana is important. You know this Brahmana? Another Brahmana came to see the kirtan performance, but the door was closed and he could not enter the hall. Now it doesn't look like very significant, but actually it is significant. Tell me in the comments why it is significant. This Brahmana who saw the door was closed, and you see what he did. Tell me in the comments if you know why this Brahmana is significant. फिरी गेलो विप्र घरे मने दुख पाया आर दिन प्रभु के कहे गंगाए लागो पाया. He returned home with an unhappy mind, but on the next day he met Lord Chaitanya on the bank of the Ganga and spoke to him. शापिबो तुम्हारे मुई पायाछि मनो दुख पयता छिंडिया शापे प्रचंड दुर्मुख. That Brahmana was expert in talking harshly and cursing others. Thus he broke his sacred thread and declared, I shall now curse you, for your behavior has greatly aggrieved me. He is cursing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because the door was closed, he could not enter the kirtan, he was cursing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Samsara sukha tomar hau ka vinash शाप सुनि प्रभुर चित्ते होइले उल्लास. Nobody is writing in the comment section. What is happening? The Brahmana cursed the Lord. You shall be bereft of all material happiness. When the Lord heard this, he felt great jubilation within himself. प्रभुर शाप वार्ता जय सुने श्रद्धवान ब्रह्म शाप होइते तार होय परित्राण. Any faithful persons who hears of this Brahmana's cursing Lord Chaitanya is delivered from all Brahmanical curses. And why this is so? You know the story of this? You know why this is so important? This Brahmana's curse? Let's see this purport. I don't know if it is there. Purport. One should know with firm conviction that the Lord, being transcendental, is never subject to any curse or benediction. Only ordinary living entities are subjected to curses and the punishments of Yamaraj. Okay, just a side note here. The Lord is never subject to any curse or benediction, right? Now, in the original Bhagavad Gita, 1972 edition, wherever the Lord is speaking, instead of the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is mentioned there, the Blessed Lord said. The Blessed Lord said. And I recently came upon the reason why it was written like that. Whereas in the changed version, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. Whenever there's Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said. And Prabhupada always, when in his lectures, he never used this word blessed Lord. How can the Lord be blessed? Who can bless the Lord? He's not subject to any benediction or a curse, right? Yeah. So what is happening? So I was also puzzled actually, why would Prabhupada say something like that? But in his lectures, he always said Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Bhagavan, and he unpacks the word Bhagavan. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasya jnana vairagyayoscha shannam bhaga itingana. The possessor of the six opulences, he is Bhagavan, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He always translated as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then, what is this Blessed Lord? So, recently, I watched a lecture by one of the devotees who is in the BBT editing, not editing committee, but a review committee of the edits. So, they were supposed to review the edits that were done throughout the editing process. I mean, after Prabhupada left, whatever edits happened, they're trying to review them and either correct them or keep the edits. So, now I don't know. I hope they're doing it with some sincerity. Um, so, there, the reason why this blessed Lord came is because Prabhupada actually did not introduce that. It was introduced by Hayagriva Prabhu, who was the editor at that time of Prabhupada. And he said that, in the Western world, they would relate with this phrase, the blessed Lord. So, shall I put it? He kind of asked Prabhupada in a semi coercive way. He almost coerced Prabhupada into it. And Prabhupada said, okay, you can put. Then it got printed like that. Then, when Prabhupada saw that, what is this blessed Lord? He did not like it at all. A few times he commented on that. Please change it back to Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's what the real translation is. So he said that. So he wanted that change happened. And in the later version, that was incorporated. So this blessed Lord doesn't actually work. That phrase is off. How I was always wondering, why is the Lord blessed? Who blessed the Lord? So he is never blessed. He blesses others or curses others. Actually, he only blesses. Even the so-called curse is a blessing. Okay. So anyway, reading on. Only ordinary living entities are subjected to curses and the punishments of Yamaraj. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is beyond such punishments and benedictions. When one understands this fact with faith and love, he personally becomes free from all curses uttered by Brahmanas or anyone else. This incident is not mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Okay. And that Brahmana cursing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that you will not have any happiness in this world. That is not even a curse. That is actually a glorification of the Lord, because the Lord does not enjoy this material world. And he has nothing to be happy about in this material world. He does not come here to enjoy the material nature, right? He's always aloof from material nature. It's actually a glorification. But externally, it looks like a curse. And it is significant because let's see if there is more. Again, blessing Mukundadatta with punishment. Okay, this is another next issue, next story already. So let's see why that is important, that Brahmana's curse. Why is it so important? Um, First of all, that is not really a curse. He said that you will never be happy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to take sannyas. So he actually did not want this material life, his family life. So he took that as a benediction. But of course, nobody can even benedict the Lord, right? So it was neither a curse nor a benediction, but actually it was a glorification of the Lord. When he says, as I said already, that he does not enjoy this material world. Now, another reason why this is significant is because of this verse. Nobody has written anything in the comments. Okay. 11.5.34 Srimad Bhagavatam. त्यक्त्वा सुदुस्त्यज सुरेप्सितराज्यलक्ष्मीम् धर्मिष्ठ आर्यवचसा यदगादरण्यम् मायामृगं दयितयेप्सितमन्वधावत् वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम् आर्यवचसा. According to the words of a Brahmana who cursed him to be deprived of all the happiness of family life. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, way before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Aryavachasa, according to the words of a Brahmana who had cursed him to be deprived of all the happiness of family life. So, Yadagadharanyam. So, this verse is a very, very, very unique verse, beautiful verse. And meaning, O Mahapurusha, this is actually referring to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But this verse also refers to Ramchandra Bhagwan and Krishna also. O Mahapurusha, I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, because Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya were both actually goddesses of fortune. And he gave up and he took sannyas, right? So he gave up the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce and is hankered after by even the great demigods. Being the most faithful follower of the path of religion, you thus left for the forest in obedience to a Brahmana's curse. Now, left for the forest in this sense means that he took sannyas in obedience to a Brahmana's curse. A Brahman, actually, he's not subject to curse, but he dharmishtha. He is dharmishtha because he is faithful follower of the path of religion in order for others to follow. He sets a good example. And to show the respect for the Brahmana, he accepted the curse of the Brahmana. And he left for the forest. Oh, you will not have enjoyment in this world. And yes, so he took sannyas. Out of sheer mercifulness, you chased after the fallen conditioned souls, Maya Mrigam Dayitayep Sitamanmadhavad, who are always in pursuit of the false enjoyment of illusion, and at the same time engaged in searching out your own desired object, Lord Shamsundar. So, this is the meaning of this verse. According to Vaishnava Acharyas, this important verse of Srimad Bhagavatam is understood to describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, and also Lord Ramachandra. This verse appears within the discussion of the sage Karabhajan of the Yogavatars, or the different incarnations of the personality of Godhead, who deliver the conditioned souls of each age. The prayers ending with the words Vande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam are understood to glorify the incarnation of Lord Krishna in Kali Yuga known as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived for 24 years in Navadvipa and as a householder and enjoyed immense popularity among both scholars and ordinary persons. His Sankirtan movement was completely supported by the local government even though it was Muslim. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had the pleasure of marrying the goddess of fortune. No ordinary woman of the material world, no matter how gorgeous she may be, can in any way compare with the beautiful goddess of fortune. Everyone in the universe, including Lord Brahma, is searching after the goddess of fortune. Therefore, it is stated here Surepsita. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna appearing as a Brahmana, and therefore he is certainly Dharmishtha or the most religious. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always Dharmishtha, whether he appears as a cowherd boy or a great king or a Brahmana, because the Lord Himself is the original source and personification of all religious principles. However, in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are very few political or economic activities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as a great philosopher, Brahmana, and thus he is certainly Dharmishtha. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the 17th chapter of the Adilila, it is described that a certain Brahmana who was well known for being harsh and cursing others could not enter the Kirtan hall where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing Kirtan because the door was locked. Being very agitated and breaking his Brahmana's thread, he cursed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu the next day on the bank of the Ganga, saying, I shall now curse you, for your behavior has greatly aggrieved me. You shall be bereft of all material happiness. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt great jubilation within himself, since his mission was Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Siksharthameka Purusha Purana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shareeradhari Kripambudhiryastamaham Prapadye. To give up the illusion of sense gratification and staunchly engage 24 hours a day in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took this curse as a blessing, and soon after, the Lord took sannyas. Thus, it is stated in this verse that by the words of the Aryan, the Brahmana, Arya Vachasa, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Yadagadharanyam, and then after touring South India, of course, South India, um, after touring South India, traveled through various forests of India on the way to Vrindavan. Now, he went to Vrindavan, Yadagad Aranyam, um, Vrindaranya. Vrindaranya is a Vrindavan, same. So he went through the Jharkhand forest, you know, as sannyasi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted especially to preserve the prestige of the Brahmana class, and therefore he decided to keep the Brahmana's curse intact. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has explained the word Maya Mrigam as follows. Maya means one's so-called wife, children, and bank account which keep one firmly bound up in the material bodily concept of life. The word Mrigam indicates Mrigyati or to search out. Thus, Maya Mrigam indicates the conditioned living entity who is always frantically searching for the latest up to the minute sense gratification in the material bodily concept of society, friendship, and love. Anvadhavat indicates that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always visibly going here and there, searching after the fallen conditioned souls. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would sometimes embrace the conditioned souls on the pretext of religious friendship or ecstasy, but actually the Lord was touching the bodies of the conditioned souls to pull them out of the ocean of the material existence and hurl them into the ocean of ecstatic love of Godhead. Thus, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the most merciful and munificent incarnation of the Lord, whose mercy surpassed the bounds of mundane discrimination in the matter of caste, color, and creed. The word Dayitaya can be explained as follows. The Sanskrit word Daya means mercy. Thus, by grammatical derivation, the word used in this verse, Dayitaya, indicates that because of being the most merciful, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was busily engaged in rescuing the fallen conditioned souls who are completely distracted and bewildered by the external illusory energy of the Lord. The quality of being the most merciful is part and parcel of the character of the Mahapurusha or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, this verse also describes the incarnation of Lord Krishna. Of course, you can actually go and read this whole thing, this description, but that context of that Brahmana's curse is here, Arya Vachasa. In Krishna's case, the Arya Vachasa indicates the order of Lord Krishna's original parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. So, in the beginning, when he was born, Arya Vachasa Yadagadharanyam, from Mathura, he went to um, Vrindavan on the order of Vasudev. Vasudev said, "Oh, you should not be here. Kamsa will come and kill you. You please go there." And he actually went up, and the river parted, and then Vasudev went with Krishna. So that is Aryavachasa in the case of Krishna. Aryavachasa in the case of Ramachandra Bhagavan is Dasharath's asking him to be go to exile, banishing him to exile on the plea of Kaikeyi, and he said Aryavachasa. So he said to go to forest, exile for 14 years. Yadagadharanyam, he went to the forest, Ramachandra Bhagavan. So Aryavachasa is Dasharath, Vasudev, and this Brahmana. So that's why the Brahmana's curse is significant. He is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as well. When one understands this fact that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is beyond punishments and benedictions, with faith and love, when he understands this fact with faith and love, he personally becomes free from all curses uttered by Brahmanas or anyone else. This incident is not mentioned in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So, if we see from that viewpoint, actually this Brahmana's curse was actually a glorification. मुकुंद दत्तेरे कोइलो दंड प्रसाद खंडिलो ताहार चित्तेर सब अवसाद. What's the time? Oh, 9:38. Should we continue in the next session? This is getting late. So we will continue this. Okay, never mind. We will just finish this Mukunda Datta's So, translation: Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed Mukunda Datta with punishment and in that way vanquished all his mental depression. See, blessed him with punishment and vanquished his mental depression. Whereas when we get punished by devotees, we go into depression and become offensive and leave Krishna consciousness or association of devotees and think we can follow everything alone. Kundadatta was once forbidden to enter the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You see, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing these things. Forbidden to enter. Because of his mixing with the Mayavadi impersonalists. Now this is very nice. Because of his mixing with Mayavadis. Here also Prabhu, the other day, earlier I mentioned about Prabhu's chastising this devotee. Is the same thing, he was mixing not exactly with Mayavadi, but actually kind of Mayavadi in the sense, because if you interpret in your own way, that is Mayavad. So Prabhupada's instructions are clear. If somebody doesn't want to follow that and then have their own groups not in line with Prabhupada's instructions, why you want to go there? So this devotee also was mixing around with unwanted association, and therefore Prabhu said like that. He forbid him to enter in a way that if he is coming, I won't come, Prabhu said, apparently. So, according to him. So, even if he said that, what is wrong? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that. Then. You want to find fault with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What do they want actually for us to change? So, that is again the same point. When Lord Chaitanya manifested his Mahaprakash, he called all the devotees one after another and blessed them, while Mukunda Datta stood outside the door. The devotees informed the Lord that Mukunda Datta was waiting outside, but the Lord replied, I shall not soon be pleased with Mukunda Datta, for though he explains devotional service among devotees, he then goes to Mayavadis to hear from them the Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana, which is full of Mayavad philosophy. For this, I am greatly displeased with him. See, he was hearing Ramayana only. Oh, Ramayana only, no, Ram, after all, why is Yoga Vasishtha Ramayana full of Mayavad philosophy? So this is Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so angry about this. So he wants to teach a lesson. Hearing the Lord speak in that way, Mukunda Datta standing outside was exceedingly glad that the Lord would at some time be pleased, because he said Lord would not be soon be pleased with him. See here. I shall not soon be pleased with Mukunda Datta. Okay, that means Mukunda Datta took it like, okay, he will be pleased, but not soon. So he will be pleased. So that is assurance enough for me. So hearing the Lord speak in that way, Mukunda Datta standing outside was exceedingly glad that the Lord would at some time be pleased with him, although he was not pleased at that moment. But when the Lord understood that Mukunda Datta was going to give up the association of the Mayavadis for good, he was pleased, and he at once called to see Mukunda. Thus he delivered him from the association of the Mayavadis and gave him the association of pure devotees. You see? Here the difference, the good thing is that Mukunda Datta wanted to change himself. Okay, I will not do it anymore. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him. That's what we should do. Even when we are forbidden, even when we are like kicked out, the way to come back into the association of devotees is to, the real thing that they want is that you understand your mistake. So that's why, in order for us to wake up and understand our mistake, sometimes the devotee may place severe consequences, you know, um, so that we become awakened to the, whatever our mistake. So that is a good thing, a good thing, if we take it in the right way. But if we don't, then we will find fault with the devotee and go away from there. So that's why we have to treasure. We have to treasure chastisement and correct ourselves. I've shown this verse before. What's this? नूनं त्वकृतपुण्यास्ते भृत्यायेष्वीश्वराः शुभे कृतागः स्वात्मसात् कृत्वा शिक्षादण्डं न युञ्जते. Puranjan said, My dear beautiful wife, when a master accepts a servant as his own man, but does not punish him for his offenses, the servant must be considered unfortunate. If we are not being punished for our offenses, we must be considered unfortunate. परमोऽनुग्रहो दण्डो भृत्येषु प्रभुनार्पितः बालो न वेद तत्तन्विबन्धुकृत्यम् अमर्षणः. My dear slender maiden, my dear slender maiden, when a master chastises his servant, the servant should accept this as great mercy. One who becomes angry must be very foolish not to know that such is the duty of his friend. A real friend would chastise. It is said that when a foolish man is instructed in something very nice, he generally cannot accept it. Indeed, he actually becomes angry. Such anger is compared to the poison of a serpent. For when a serpent is fed milk and bananas, its poison actually increases. Instead of becoming merciful or sober, the serpent increases its poisonous venom when fed nice foodstuffs. Similarly, when a fool is instructed, he does not rectify himself but actually becomes angry. One second. Okay. So, Sal Bhagavatama. Okay. Thus he delivered him from the association of the Mayavadis and gave him the association of pure devotees. Okay. Lord Chaitanya respected Advaita Acharya as a spiritual master, but Advaita Acharya Prabhu was greatly aggrieved by such behavior. So this is Advaita Acharya accepting punishment, which we will, continue in the next session because it's getting late. Yeah, it's 9:45. Okay, so this is all about chastisement and how great devotees take it. And even Advaita Acharya was seeking chastisement. And it's not about just seeking chastisement. We should correct ourselves. So Hare Krishna is asking, and what would you advise someone who has been literally pushed out of the temple? Is that also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire? Nothing happens without the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nothing happens. So, yes, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire. So, if one is literally pushed out of the temple, one can just imagine how great of an offense that person must have done, right? To receive that treatment. So, if we are not correcting and if we are committing the offense, I mean, horrible offenses, and I know the full details of this particular incident, and I know exactly why it happened. It was very, very grave offenses, and this is not even light, not even extremely grave offenses. So that was dealt with perfectly, and one should reflect on one's own faults, and even the way this question was asked, lack of humility, because if we don't think about our faults and actually think of how to correct oneself and always try to find fault with the person who seemingly chastises us for our own good, then you know this is extremely serious. This is um, there's no words to describe. It's very serious, and the way this person has retaliated after that chastisement is even worse. So I won't go into the full details, um, but I know the entire incident perfectly well. I was there. I have seen it. I know what exactly happened. But that is very, very grave offense. So Nothing happens without the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, let it be. So this is how we have to learn, right? So any other questions or comments? I will take now. Okay. The quartz crystal assumes the color of any objects in its proximity, regardless of the hue of that object. Deliberation on the methodology of sadhusanga. Yeah, Manivat what is that? How it starts? Manivat Sat Satad Gunai. यश्चयत् सङ्गतिः पुंसो मणिवत् स्यात् स तद्गुणः स्वकुलर्ध्यै ततो धीमन् स्वयूथान्येव संश्रयेत्. As the qualities of a nearby object are reflected in a crystal, one similarly takes on the qualities of a person with whom he associates. Therefore, in order to increase one's devotional sentiment in his own line, a wise person should take shelter of those who have the same temperament. Both the young girls who were worshipping demigods and now Gopal Chapal used the phrase our village relationship, Ada reminding the Lord of his identity. That is a speculation. 4:11:32. What? Anger should not fall under the control of anger. In which context is this? I don't understand. Okay, I'll go further. Mhm. So Dimitri Prabhu is saying, when I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, I was like, why he gives all these details? Now I understand because people don't know. Not only this, I've said this many times. Archaeological surveys. In the future, these places of pastimes may be lost in the course of time. Anything may happen. I mean, at one point there were Islamic invasions, and therefore many temples were desecrated and places of sites were lost, and due to many other reasons. And similarly, if anything happens, so there is, there are Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur always gives the geographical location very, um, how to say, vividly, so that if anything happens, that it can be revived. Okay. हिंदी में समझाते तो कुछ समझ भी आता, इंग्लिश नहीं आता. Well, actually, His Grace Gopal Prabhu asked us to do Hindi classes. Um, so that will have to start soon. because a lot of people they wouldn't know English. So we will start soon that Hindi classes. Oh, this is already done. Debale is asking, in which part Mahaprabhu described? What is this? I don't understand what you're talking about. Well, Parshuram Prabhu is saying 3:16, 9 and 10 Lord glorifies Brahmana. Oh, this is the Jai Vijay, right? येषां बिभर्म्यहमखण्डविकुण्ठयोगं माया विभूतिरमलङ्घ्रिरजः किरीटैः विप्रांस्तु को न विषहेत यदर्हणाम्भः सद्यः पुनाति सह चन्द्रललामलोकान्. I am the master of my unobstructed internal energy, and the water of the Ganga is the remnant left after my feet are washed. That water sanctifies the three worlds along with Lord Shiva, who bears it on his head. If I can take the dust of the feet of the Vaishnava on my head, who will refuse to do the same? Beautifully said. Beautifully said. ये मे तनूर्द्विजवरान् दुहतीर्मदीया भूतान्यलब्धशरणानि च भेदबुद्ध्या द्रक्ष्यन्त्यघक्षतदृशो ह्यहिमन्यवस्तान् गृध्रारुषा मम गृध्रारुषा ममकुशन्त्यभिदण्डनेतुः. The brahmanas, the cows, and the defenseless creatures are my own body. Those whose faculty of judgment has been impaired by their own sin look upon these as distinct from me. They are just like furious serpents, and they are angrily torn apart by the bills of the vulture like messengers of Yamaraj, superintendent of sinful persons. Mhm. And how do you know that the aforementioned person is not innocent? Who will be the judge of this matter, you or the bona fide spiritual master? Both. So, because I know what the bona fide spiritual master wants, and I also saw what this aforementioned person has written and what rubbish was done. So I know very well how much offensive this person was. So, see, we have to be judge. We have to be a judge, and judge based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. Okay, so the temple management will take decision on the viewpoint of Sadhu Shastra Guru, and they know very well, much better than you, on um, what the punishment or the reward or the treatment should be. So you have no right to dictate to them because you are nobody. So unless one understands that, one will not advance. If he thinks he is better than all yeah, the management and he knows better, yeah, then that is the treatment we will get because he will contaminate others, come and contaminate others with this mentality. So we don't want infection, right? Infectious people have to be quarantined. So that quarantine is also part of the process of devotional service. Enviousness. This is, and that envy of that person, and because I know that exactly what happened. So the envy of that person who was punished was so extreme that the language was so loose and so audacious. It was completely rubbish. Completely rubbish. Okay? So don't make me speak more about this because it will not be good. Right? It will not be good for the aforementioned person. Yeah? Please don't let me tell out every single detail of that. Yeah. Okay, so in which part Mahaprabhu describes 64 types of explanations of Atmarama verse? See, Devale, you really have to understand how to ask questions. I'm not going to answer this. You find out yourself. Okay? You know, right? You find out. Dimitri Prabhu, I only know Vishwambar Prabhu can give class in Hindi. Who else? Well, Krishna willing, Prabhupada willing, Vaishnavas willing, we can. Um, so that's what Prabhu asked us to do. Of course, my Hindi, if I give more, then you know I will gain more familiarity with those words. But just like I did, like when I went to India, I went to give classes in Tirupati and Prototur. I was speaking Telugu, but mixed with English. Simple Telugu and English. So in that way it is understandable for people. So I might start the same way in Hindi and eventually polish up my Hindi more. um, yeah, then I can do better in that, hopefully. Yeah, so Brajakishore Prabhu, myself, Brajakishore Prabhu asked us to do. So that would have to be started soon. There's nothing to be afraid of for one who has taken shelter of Abhay Charan Sri Prabhupada. I would say that getting chastisement is better than getting heart attacks. Okay, so since you have spoken so audaciously, so here it goes. This is the offensive statement here, right here. This person is saying it is better to get chastised than to get heart attack. So she's saying that Sundagopal Prabhu got a heart attack. So mine is better. He suffered more. So he's look at the language. So this is the exact thing, and much more worse language was spoken. The, so that's why shameless, absolutely shameless. So this is the problem. This is the exact problem, and this is just skimming the surface. Underneath is a whole trench of poison, like the Mariana Trench, 11 kilometers deep. So that kind of poison was spewing, and absolute rubbish was written like this. And this is like nothing. This, you see, how can somebody speak like that? So as if this person is not going to get anything. What will this person get in the future? Everybody will get, right. So Prabhupada also got heart attack. So what do you want to say? So what do you want to say? Huh. Rubbish. This is the offensive behavior, and these kind of people are not. They better don't come to the temple at all. Get lost. Okay, stay away because you don't deserve the association of devotees at all. You see, even Chapal Gopal, he corrected himself. That repentance is what Krishna wants to see. Okay, there's no repentance here. There's no repentance here. So look at the language. So this is the nonsense that is going on. So these kind of people don't deserve any association. And honestly, this person has been harassing for many years. Yeah, she has been harassing. So this is a very chronic case of offensive behavior. It's not just like a one incident thing. It has been for years, a decade, more than a decade, in fact. But she was tolerated and tolerated and tolerated and tolerated until it came to a point where there's no more. There's no more um, um, no reason to allow her to come. So it has to be done. Who am I talking about? Who? I'm sorry, I won't say, I won't name people at this point unless it becomes so nonsense. I don't want to do it on a public platform in this way. But yeah, this happened. So this is very, very offensive. We're talking, this whole class is about Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. And here you go. The person in the comment section, Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. Today we have one idiot earlier commented, another idiot now. So these are the things. So we're doing Vaiṣṇava-aparādha class on Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, and here is a Aparādha of Vaishnava going on in the comment section of the class. This is today's Kali Yuga population's audience. Brainless nutcases. Okay? That's what they are, mostly. So, unfortunate. I mean, it angers me a lot because how can you talk about Sundar Gopal Prabhu like that? How dare you? How dare you? Rascal. So, I mean, anyway, Krishna has answers for all the offenses. So, this person is not going to be allowed in the temple anymore. Not at all. Finish. All right. So thank you very much. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Anantagodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Bonafide Vaishnavas ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.